George Paris.
He killed a fellow prisoner called Turner, armed only with a toothbrush, apparently. But in the death notice, he's not called Turner, he's called McCaffrey.
Was McCaffrey a villain or a cop?
Cop.
George is my son. Vincent, my grandson.
My old man, the criminal. Went to rob a bank with a dry cleaning ticket.
Was George guilty?
God, no.
No, Simon! You people, you steer away from me, right? You! Sam! Get down!
What happened?
Well, I was driving her home and, she suddenly seemed in a lot of pain.
Had she had a fall
No.
or any sort of traumatic experience?
No. Why?
I'm really, really sorry. She lost the baby. Very early, but, it's a life all the same, isn't it? She hadn't told you.
No. I just work with her, you see.
Didn't we already say goodbye? Right, you promise never to tell anybody, ever.
I won't.
Or ever mention it again to me.
Will you tell the father?
Maloney, what did I just say to you? Goodbye, Maloney.
Goodbye, Rose.
Oh, God!
Listen, you won't get a second chance.
You shouldn't be here.
Where should I be? I need to find out who they were, Maloney.
I had a horrible feeling you were going to say that. Yeah, okay, me too. I dreamt about it all weekend. Funny thing, in my dreams, I was quite brave. I even turned the tables on them at one point. I was a hero.
What was I doing?
Just cringing on the floor like in reality.
That's great. Thanks.
My dream.
So, where were you all weekend? Not picking up your phone or returning calls?
Just busy.
Oh. Okay.
Why?
Do you two like some privacy?
Shut up. Joyce, come on.
Well, it's just that you said if I didn't understand anything.
Anne.
Well, I was going through all the prisoners on the wing where George Paris is supposed to have murdered Alan Turner.
And looking at what they were in for, like George, firearms offence, hostage taking, Turner, GBH, and the others, ABH, robbery, arson with intent, murder, attempted murder, murder, and then this one. Andrew Carson, VAT fraud.
VAT? Is
So I rang the prison service this morning. It's not just that his crime's different from the rest. He's the only one who's finished his sentence. He's out.
Well done, Joyce.
There's more. He saw Turner and George Paris talking together, intimately, on the night Turner was murdered.
Now, why was he the only one to mention that?
Only the investigating officer can tell us that. Let's go and ask him.
Mr. Maloney, Miss Linden, would you like to follow me?
Thank you. Will Superintendent James be long?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Superintendent James.
Oh, I beg your pardon.
So, how can I help?
Who's Andrew Carson?
Why are you asking?
He's different from the others. Why was a tax evader doing time with murderers and arsonists?
Because that's all we could pin on him. Carson is the Met's biggest single problem. Drugs, prostitution, people trafficking, several murders. We can't lay a finger on him. Nothing ever sticks. Charmed life.
Is there some secret special unit?
Well, if there is, Mr. Maloney, it wouldn't be secret very long if we all went around talking about it. And actually, I have no idea.
Turner was after Carson, wasn't he? And somebody grassed him up. Is that what happened?
Why the fixation with Carson? It is best to keep out of his way.
Pity nobody told Alan Turner that. Or should I call him Officer McCaffrey?
Officer McCaffrey didn't exist. We all have to choose between fantasy and reality, Miss Linden. Carson is no fantasy. He's still the subject of one of the most intensive undercover investigations we've ever mounted. An operation which you seem determined to compromise. Do you need to be ordered to stay away?
No. Was that wise?
Yeah, it was. Oh, it wouldn't be a secret if we all talked about it. What sort of bollocks is that? And I've no idea, actually. I only make the tea. You don't believe any of that, do you?
So Carson sent blokes around with guns to scare the shit out of us, nearly succeeding literally in my case.
Thanks for sharing that with me, Maloney.
And we know who it was, and we still can't touch him. How do you do this? I mean, how is it physically possible?
Your travel agent called.
What?
Your trip's confirmed. 2 seats on a flight to Mallorca, out 18th, back 22nd, Hotel 4 Mentor, double room. It is a king-size bed. And, yes, they can arrange flowers and champagne.
Thank you. Okay. Here's the story.
Mm-hmm.
Special unit, or whatever they call themselves, put McCaffrey into jail, calling in Turner to buddy up to Carson.
Hey, Carson. Wait, Bill.
Somehow, Carson finds out his real identity and murders him. And for some reason, he dies with the name of Paris on his lips. George denies it at first, but then it's made clear to him what Carson can do to Gina and Vincent on the outside, and bingo, he pleads guilty. The others go along for the ride because Carson tells them to, and George is the perfect murder suspect. He's black, he's a loner, he hates white people because they've ruined his life, and he's known to be violent. It's all completely believable and all complete bollocks, and there's nothing we can do about it.
Let's think about it differently. What was McCaffrey stroke Turner trying to get out of Carson?
Information.
Yeah, about what, though? The police seem to know plenty about him, but still can't touch him.
What was it Juliet Bravo said? He's got a charmed life.
Exactly. Has Andrew Carson got somebody looking after him? Is that what they were after? It's not incriminating evidence against Carson himself, but the name, of someone in their own ranks who helps him out.
Right, you! Down! Sit down! Say goodbye.
They're both fine, I promise. They're safe and with friends. It was us they were trying to frighten.
Be frightened.
We had guns put to our head, George, and we'd quite like to know why.
Look, George, we will back off. We'd just like to know what happened on the wing the night that Turner died.
So, talk to us about Carson and Turner.
Carson killed him, didn't he?
No. I did.
What was he like, Turner?
Was in a social club.
When did he tell you he was a cop?
I never said he did.
Is it true he abused you, or was that just part of his act?
Once.
So he was a racist?
You know, you're all racist, in my opinion.
Us as well.
Yes. You see, you live in a white world where they load the dice towards all the white people in it. And against people like me, my mother, and my son, and you don't even notice.
I think I do notice, actually.
Oh, really? And what are you doing about it?
Well, I don't do anything to get those unfair advantages.
You don't have to. That's my point. You see, if Bennett and Chatham hadn't been sitting waiting for two black men to come along and rob a bank, none of this would have happened to me.
Good, this is it, boys! Police! Police!
If policeman didn't think that all black men look the same, I wouldn't be sitting here. If my face was white, I would not be sitting here.
Drop your weapon and come out of there!
Did you talk to Bennett and Chatham? Did you look them in the face and you asked them what they do to me?
Bennett's retired. And Chatham went to Australia 10 years ago.
Bullshit, that man was at my trial.
Yes, I know he was at your trial, George, but that was 16 years ago.
My murder trial. They like to take you to court first thing in the morning. No press, no public, and no family. There was just this one man standing in the gallery.
George Paris, how do you plead to the charge of murder? George Paris, how do you plead?
Guilty. That man's eyes, they burn straight from me. Pure heat. I've seen a lot of it in my time.
Nobody lied to me about anything.
So what was it then?
It was an administrative error. Chatham did go to Australia, but he came back 5 years ago. Here's his CV.
You're happy to believe that, are you, Wendy?
I don't know what to believe. I just think you should both be careful about jumping to conclusions.
Oh, here he is in all his glory. Not Sergeant John Chatham anymore, but Commander John Chatham.
Commander John Chatham, Support and Resources.
He's head of paper clips.
It doesn't matter. He's a senior cop and he's bent.
You have no evidence whatsoever of that.
We need to interview him, Wendy.
What?
Well, I knew you'd say that. The Met absolutely refuses to allow it. I'm sorry, but I have to say, I think this case review is effectively over, don't you?
Well, she's right, actually, so now what?
I don't know. I'm out on moves. Going home.
The message. Stay back! Don't frighten her, please. We told them to stop.
Tell them again, and tell George. We want a guarantee this time. Boss!
Now, how come my son can't look me in the eye?
My name's Scarlett.
Scarlett. Vincent. Where's your grandmother? Why you can't just do as I ask it? I tell you, I just want to live out my time in peace and silence.
It's officially over, Mr. Paris. They've sent the case back. They'll let her go, won't they?
Vincent, they say something to you. They give you a message.
They said to tell you they want a guarantee.
Guarantee of what?
Scarlett, it was nice to meet you. You look like a very nice girl. But right now, I would like you to go in. Because I want to talk to my son for a little bit. Thank you. Vincent, it's time. Raise your eye from the ground and face the wall. I don't want you to worry about your grandmother. Because it's finished now. Just like your girlfriend say. It's all official. That's all them man out there need. Once they see that, they go send her home. When they send her home, you have to come off that junk.
Who told you?
Oh, you think I need telling? No, Vincent, you have to get off that shit, and you have to stay off it. For good. I go tell you why. I want you to be a father to that child you have coming. My father. 7 children, 3 different women. I never see him. Now I make up my mind I was going to be different. But that was the plan. And I feel you, Vincent. And I want you to be a better father than me, that's all.
I'll do as you ask.
Give me a hand. I'm glad to see you. son.
Dad.
Of course.
Hello? George Paris wants to see us.
I want to tell you what happened the night Turner McCaffrey died.
It's too late, George. We've sent the case back.
I know. And it's fine. I need you to know the full story.
Oh, really? And what about what we needed?
Why now? You told us absolutely nothing whilst we were trying to do our job. Now the case is closed, you want to tell us the whole story.
Well, you want to know or not?
Yes.
Carson could have done this some other time, you know. But that's not the way you do things. Once it to be seen, to be done.
This is what we do to twats like you. Anyone else want some? Hey?
I thought about helping him. And then I thought, what that might cost me. And I just did what everybody else did. Now, I'm not proud of that, right? But I can live with it.
I still don't understand why he died with your name on his lips and not Carson's.
Nor can I. It's the one piece I can't explain. I just know it made it real easy for them policemen to make a case against me.
Well, if you didn't kill him, why did he die with your name on his lips? Did it feel good watching him drown in his own blood? Be a bit cleverer, George. Are you going to spend your whole life in places like this?
Come on, George, stop pissing us around.
What?
He said your name because he wanted you to tell the police something. That's why the Met are so interested in what he said to you that night. Just talk to them. They'll put Vincent and Gina under protection.
Too late. They've taken up. But it's fine, eh? Because you dropped the keys. McCaffrey never said one word to me about Carson.
But Carson saw you talking to him that night, George.
I know. You know how many times I run that through my head? What if I just get up and walk away? But no, that man catch me by surprise. My whole time in prison, he asked me a question nobody else ever asked me.
You got any kids, Paris?
What?
Have you got any kids?
A son.
My wife's due in 3 months. So our first. We're going to have loads. You only got the one?
Yes.
Why?
Because I came in here, that's why.
You see him much?
No. Never.
That must be hard.
What else you want from me?
How'd you be a father, Paris? I mean, who shows you how to do it?
You're asking the wrong man. I think the idea is you're supposed to be there.
Well, I might not be. Pass a message to my wife.
Or somebody else.
Just tell her I love her. And I've got a name for the baby when he's born. Would you do that for me? This might be my only son.
Okay. What's the message?
Tell her, Jimmy, if it's a boy, Carol, if it's a girl. Appreciate it, pal. I better be going.
Up yours, you black bastards!
And there was nothing else. But Carson doesn't believe me. I mean, I didn't even know McCaffrey was our policeman until much later on.
How'd you find out?
His wife. She wrote to me after my trial. Wanted me to know what a fine man I had killed. Wanted me to know about the little girl that would never see her father. That he was worth 100 of me. And that he'd lose his life ridding the world of scum like Judge Paris.
And yet you replied to her. Passed on his message.
I did what I promised her. Anyhow, that is it. It's over. Now you could leave me in peace. I just wanted you to know. Thank you for what you tried to do.
We should go to the police.
What, and let them fish Gina's body out of a rubbish skip?
Well, there is one thing I would like to do. I'd like McCaffrey's widow to know she's wrong about George Paris.
Rose?
Yeah. Problem?
George Paris hanged himself at 11 o'clock last night.
We're Vincent and Gina's insurance policy, aren't we? He just wanted somebody left alive who knew the whole story. Just in case.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll take you home, eh?
I can go home now. How come? How come they let me go, Vincent?
They wanted a guarantee that he would never tell whatever it is he knew. So he gave him the guarantee, Grandma. George.
Tell the lady and gentleman why it's a special day, Polly.
It's my birthday.
You're 3, aren't you? Getting a big girl now. Right, off and do a wee, because we're off to meet Polly, Gran and Grandpa at the station.
Happy birthday, Polly.
I've got no time for this. You've come to tell me Paris is dead. There was no need. I probably knew before you did, and I was glad. Have you got children, Miss Linden?
No.
Too busy with your career?
Something like that.
Oh, you don't know what you're missing. Is that it, then?
No. We got to know George Paris pretty well during all of this. And we're as sure as is humanly possible he didn't kill your husband.
Really? So who did?
Well, we think we know that too, but we can't tell you.
Oh, really? And why not?
Partly for legal reasons, and partly because the man involved has a way of getting violent with people he thinks have information that might damage him.
So, what was the point of this visit again?
To say you're wrong about George.
Oh, George now, is it? And tell me how I'm wrong about George.
Do you really think the heartless bastard you imagine would take the trouble to pass on your husband's message about Polly's name?
That? Yes, I do. In fact, only a sick bastard would rub salt into the wound by inventing a message like that.
Why inventing?
Carol, if it's a girl, Jimmy, if it's a boy, you would never have said that.
Why not?
Because it's complete nonsense. First of all, I'd had a scan, and we knew perfectly well it was going to be a girl. Secondly, we'd already chosen the name Polly. It's my mother's name. Your friend George just made all that shite up because he was twisted and he hated white folk. Now, please get out of my house and don't ever come back. Now. If I were you, Miss Linden, I'd think about doing something useful with my life.
I'll drive you home.
I don't want to go home. I want to go and see that old bastard Bennett.
Well, is there any point, Ruth?
Yes. It'll make me feel better.
Miss Linden?
Put out your weapon and come out! Go, boys.
Hardly nobody visits my brother now. His wife died. I think that's what brought on his stroke, tell the truth.
One of his old colleagues from the force.
His old sergeant drops by now and then. He stuck by him. But then he does have a lot to thank my brother for.
Does he?
Saved his career, tell the truth. Sacrificed his own at the same time. Who did you say you were?
Well,
Age concern.
what were you saying about his sergeant?
It all happened because this coloured chap tried to rob a bank. It was in all the papers at the time. My brother fired on him and... Well, it turned out all right in the end because the dark fella admitted his crime. But you see, the thing people didn't know was this.
Drop your weapon! Drop your weapon and come out of there!
It wasn't this silly bugger that fired on the darkie. It was his sergeant, John Chatham. But my brother, being the sort of man he is, covered up for him. Because he said, John Chatham's got a brilliant career ahead of him. That's the sort of man my brother was. You ask John Chatham.
Through many dangers, toils and snares, I have already come. 'Tis grace that brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we've known to sing God's praise, that when we first begun, and when we first begun, that when we
Thank you, both of you. You were trying to do a good thing.
My gran would like it if you would come to the flat for a drink. So would I.
We would.
Yeah, we'd like that.
Yeah, we'll follow on.
I'm amazed you even want to show your face here.
Well, nobody knows better than me who really committed that murder. And what a bloody mess this all was. But it'll be worth it if we ever get Carson.
How many more lives will that cost?
My boss would like a word.
You've been looking for me. I'm John Chatham.
You're her boss? You run the special unit? You come to finish the job you started 16 years ago?
Well, there's nothing I can do to change what happened 16 years ago. I was a young officer. I made a terrible mistake. I didn't pay for it because a great man and a great policeman gave me a second chance.
Which is more than George ever got.
Yes. Well, as I say, there's nothing I can do to put that right. I came here today to pay my respects to a man I did great harm to.
You make me vomit.
Carol, could you get the car, please? Carson trades in child prostitutes, Miss Linden. He murders people who look at him in the wrong way. And somewhere in the Metropolitan Police is his partner who protects him. A career criminal who happens to be a ranking police officer. Now, I can't bring them down without creating some mayhem of my own.
I'm Superintendent James.
I wish it was different. Carol? Alan McCaffrey was a volunteer. He knew the risks. It was worth it to try and find the name of Carson's partner.
In your judgment.
Rose? Yes, in my judgment.
Which wasn't very impressive 16 years ago and doesn't seem to have improved with age.
Rose?
What?
I should go.
No, wait. Tell him about the message that George passed on to McCaffrey's widow.
There wasn't a message. We interviewed him.
This was later, after the conviction. They exchanged letters.
Saying what? What did you tell her?
Just about the name of the child she was carrying. Carol for a girl, Jimmy for a boy.
Carol or Jimmy? Carol or James?
Oh my God.
Time to move, I think. Oh, by the way, I had listening devices placed on your phones. As you noticed. They'll be gone by the end of the day. And, do enjoy Mallorca, won't you? The north side of the island is beautiful this time of the year.
So our phones were bugged.
So I think that means that I was, what's the word,
Yes, okay, you were right.
And you were,
Wrong. Fine.
So was I paranoid?
No.
Slightly louder?
Just go and have your dirty weekend with Joyce, will you?
Joyce?
Yes, Joyce. 2 tickets, king-size bed. Enjoy your weekend.
Yes, thank you, I will. I'll be spending it with my nephew while my brother and his wife go on a surprise anniversary trip that I've given them. So I think that means that you were wrong again, Rose. What's the world coming to?
I don't know, Maloney.
No, nor me, Rose. Nor me.